My sister, Chloe, had always been obsessed with the idea of marrying into old money. To make it happen, she bought a bottle of viral glow-up pills that were trending all over TikTok. Back then I warned her. I told her these sketchy, unregulated supplements had severe side effects and could literally ruin her body. Hearing my warning, Chloe threw the pills away immediately. She even hugged me and thanked me for saving her life. But not long after, photos of a lavish wedding went viral on Instagram. The groom was a billionaire heir, and the bride was the very influencer who sold Chloe those pills. Chloe was convinced that the influencer only snagged the billionaire because of those glow-up pills. She blamed me for destroying her dream. In a fit of rage, she ran me over with her car. "You jealous bitch. If you hadn't meddled, I'd be the one marrying into the Sterling family." Our parents helped her cover up the crime, telling everyone that my death was just a tragic car accident. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day Chloe was showing off those glow-up pills to me. Our parents were standing by, smiling. "It's fine, Mia. Every girl wants to look pretty, right?" I smiled back. "Yeah. If you want to take them, Chloe, go ahead." "Mia, look. I paid a fortune for these glow-up pills. Everyone on Snapchat says they make you gorgeous enough to snag a billionaire." The moment I opened my eyes, I saw Chloe excitedly waving a beautifully packaged bottle of pills in front of my face. "Once these pills make my skin flawless and pale, those rich guys will be crawling to me." Before I could say anything, Mom and Dad cut in. "If Chloe wants them, let her have them. It's normal for girls to care about their looks. Mia, don't always be such a buzzkill. As long as Chloe is happy." In my past life, they said the exact same thing. But as a pre-med graduate, I could see through the scam immediately. The so-called glow-up effect of these pills was caused by banned hormones. They gave a temporary boost to the skin, but long-term use caused toxins to build up in the body, leading to sudden organ failure. In my previous life, I had explained all the medical risks to Chloe. I even showed her news articles about girls who ended up permanently disfigured from taking them. Chloe had been terrified. She threw the pills straight into the trash. "Mia, thank God you told me. Being pretty isn't worth dying for." Even our parents had looked relieved back then. But soon after, photos of a high society wedding flooded Instagram. The bride was the very influencer who sold Chloe those pills. Chloe lost her mind. She convinced herself that if I hadn't stopped her, she would have been the one in that wedding dress. So she lured me out, waited until my back was turned, and slammed her accelerator, crashing her car straight into me. "You jealous bitch. If you hadn't meddled, I'd be the one marrying into the Sterling family." I died on the spot. My parents lied to the cops, claiming I had severe depression and that it was a suicide. Chloe didn't spend a single day in jail. Instead, she used my tragic death to gain clout on TikTok, building a massive following and making a fortune. Feeling the phantom pain still lingering in my chest, I forced down the burning hatred inside me and forced a casual smile. "Chloe, once you marry a billionaire and live in a mansion, don't forget about me." Chloe beamed with pride, her smile reaching her ears. "Mia, we're sisters. Once I make it big, I'll definitely look out for you." Then, Chloe hesitated, a flicker of worry crossing her face. "But I am a little nervous. These pills won't actually hurt me, right? You studied medicine. Can you check the ingredients for me?" I opened my mouth, but then swallowed my words. I had warned her in my past life, and what did I get? My parents helped her lie, blamed me, and treated my brutal murder like a convenient accident. I blinked innocently. "I didn't major in pharmacology, Chloe. I don't really know much about these synthetic supplements. If you're that worried, maybe just throw them away?" I said this on purpose. I knew Chloe and I knew our parents. Since we were kids, our parents never said no to anything Chloe wanted. Sure enough, Chloe instantly clutched the pill bottle tightly to her chest. Tons of girls on TikTok got gorgeous from these. I will too. Once my skin is perfect, finding a rich guy will be a piece of cake. I said nothing. "Go ahead. Take them." This time, I wanted to see if Chloe would end up in a mansion or with a ruined face. Chloe was still slightly anxious, so she spent the whole night searching Snapchat and TikTok for success stories. Thanks to the algorithm, her feed was quickly flooded with videos of girls glowing up and marrying rich after taking the pills. Occasionally, a video debunking the pills as a dangerous scam would pop up. But Chloe swiped past them instantly. She only wanted to see the success stories, fantasizing about achieving instant fame and wealth. Meanwhile, I was busy sending out resumes, running to job interviews, and looking for internships. When I got exhausted, I relied on coffee and mint balm to keep myself awake. Chloe, on the other hand, stayed up all night researching how to sneak into exclusive VIP parties and hunting for wealthy guys on Instagram, giggling at her phone all day. One day, seeing me editing my resume over a cheap takeout box, Chloe curled her lip in disdain. "Mia, you work so hard sending resumes and doing interviews, but you're just going to end up with a basic, low-paying job. You should really try these glow-up pills with me. Once you're hot, you won't have to worry about finding a guy to take care of you." It's way better than wage slaving. Without thinking, I blurted out, "No thanks." Chloe's face darkened instantly. "Mia, do you still think something is wrong with these pills?" Seeing the suspicion in her eyes, I quickly smoothed things over. "No, Chloe. It's just, I'm not naturally pretty anyway. Even if I take them, it won't make a difference. But you're already gorgeous and slim. The pills will work like magic on you. I don't want to waste them." Seeing my self-deprecating look, Chloe's anger turned into smug satisfaction. She looked down at my faded hoodie with sheer contempt. "True. A plain girl like you wouldn't know what to do with a glow-up anyway." I nodded in agreement, my mind completely calm. Our family was working class. Our parents worked odd jobs to get us through school. In my past life, I worked myself to the bone just to land a decent entry-level job. But I had been content. I wanted to graduate, work hard, and help my parents. I never expected Chloe to destroy everything. And what broke my heart the most was that my parents knew the truth, yet chose to protect my murderer. Remembering how they casually dismissed my death as an accident, a cold rage washed over me. Watching Chloe lose herself in her delusional fantasies, I looked away and went back to editing my resume. Soon, the night of the charity gala hosted by the Sterling family arrived. Before leaving the house, Chloe posted on Twitter, "Big night ahead. Sparkles," with a picture of a glow-up pill. The gala ended late. The moment I walked through the front door, I heard Chloe's excited voice echoing from the living room. "Chloe, did you seriously meet Zachary Sterling?" A few of her friends were crowding around her, green with envy. Chloe tossed her hair proudly. "Of course. He even asked for my Snapchat. He told me I looked absolutely stunning tonight." To prove she wasn't lying, Chloe started listing the brand of Zachary's designer suit, his luxury watch, and the exact words he said to her. My heart skipped a beat. Knowing Chloe's social circle, there was no way she could have gotten close to someone in that elite bracket. Did Zachary Sterling actually take an interest in her? Listening to Chloe brag, the other girls' eyes practically turned into hearts. "Oh my God, Chloe. This is insane. Zachary is totally into you. Forget about basic rich guys. You're about to secure an actual billionaire." The flattery went straight to Chloe's head. Then one girl asked, "Chloe, how did you do it? We're best friends. You can't keep the secret to yourself." "I saw your Twitter post. Is it because of those glow-up pills?" Chloe didn't even hesitate. She proudly admitted it. The girls gasped. "If we take those pills before the next party, will we get that gorgeous too?" The room went wild. Everyone stared at Chloe like she held the key to heaven. "Chloe, where did you buy them? Can you get some for me? I'll pay you right now." Chloe hesitated at first, but when she realized she could charge them a premium, her eyes lit up with greed. After pocketing their cash, Chloe promised she would secure the pills as soon as possible. Then she turned to look at me. "Mia, I can get a bottle for you too. I'll even give you a sister discount." I rejected her instantly. "No thanks. I'll just stick to my regular routine. Besides, those things have crazy side effects. What if something goes wrong?" Hearing my words, the hyped-up girls suddenly quieted down. Realizing there might be dangerous side effects, several girls started getting cold feet. Seeing her easy cash being handed back, Chloe glared at me with pure venom. "Mia, I can't believe you. Just because you can't afford these pills doesn't mean you have to ruin things for everyone else." I put on a hurt expression. "Chloe, I'm just looking out for you guys. What if someone gets hurt?" Chloe snorted. "I've been taking them and I'm perfectly fine. Look at how bright my skin is. If you guys want to stay ugly, fine by me." Seeing Chloe's flawless skin, the girls wavered again. A few of the more insecure girls didn't hesitate. They Venmo'd Chloe the money on the spot, begging her to buy the pills for them. Chloe smiled and accepted the money, then smirked at the others. They looked back and forth between me and Chloe, eventually shaking their heads. "We'll pass." Chloe let out a condescending laugh, pointing at me. "Fine. Since you'd rather listen to Mia, let's see what kind of amazing job she lands with her boring life." That night, the girls who bought the pills posted matching Snapchat stories of the capsules with the caption, "Ready for my glow-up? Sparkling heart." Looking at their stubbornness, I sighed and went back to preparing for my interview tomorrow. A week later, at another college party, those girls indeed looked significantly fairer. Wealthy frat boys were actually approaching them. They came back ecstatic, crowding around Chloe. "Chloe, these pills are literally magic. My skin is glowing." Those rich guys who used to ignore me were buying me drinks all night. But I knew this was just the calm before the storm. I had secretly researched the chemical compounds in those pills. The short-term whitening effect was real, but the banned hormones would build up in the body. Within 6 months, the backlash would begin: skin rotting, severe pigmentation, and even organ damage. I tried to drop subtle hints to Chloe, but she wouldn't listen to a word. "You're just jealous. Look at my skin, it's better than any celebrity's." What she didn't know was that Zachary Sterling wasn't interested in her looks. He was using her as an unregistered distributor to sell his toxic pills to college girls. As word spread, more and more girls came knocking on our door. Chloe, do these pills really work? Are you blind? Look at me. It's your own fault for not believing me sooner. Just sit back and watch me shine. Chloe, you're literally an angel for sharing this with us. Hearing this, the girls who had hesitated earlier were filled with deep regret. Noticing their jealousy, Chloe turned her smug gaze onto me. Mia, if you hadn't held me back, I would have reached this level months ago. I'd probably be engaged to Zachary by now. She sighed dramatically. But don't be too sad. If you missed out this semester, there's always next year. Chloe's words completely shifted the blame. The girls who had been on my side yesterday now glared at me with burning resentment. Mia, did you do that on purpose? Just because you're plain doesn't mean you have to hold your sister back. I was going to buy them, but I listened to you and missed my chance. You ruined my life. Accusations flew at me from all directions. I kept my face blank, my mind focused on one thing. The pills' results were real, but the price was absolute. Chloe had no idea she was walking straight into Zachary's trap. While I was lost in thought, a girl violently shoved my shoulder. Mia, are you just jealous of Chloe? Why do you hate seeing her succeed? Chloe put on a fake sympathetic show. Guys, don't blame Mia. She was just worried I'd ruin my face. That's why she stopped me. This made everyone even angrier. A few girls got so worked up they cornered me against the wall. Who do you think you are, trying to control our bodies? I braced myself against the wall, trying to stay calm. Get a grip. Those pills contain banned substances. They will destroy your kidneys and rot your skin in the long run. I was trying to save you, but they blocked out my voice. The scene was spiraling into chaos. Our parents, hearing the shouting, rushed out of their room. They were shocked to see me surrounded by a hostile crowd. What is going on here? Get away from Mia. Chloe stepped forward. Mom, Dad, don't blame them. Mia is the one who blocked everyone from getting their glow-up pills. Under our parents' confused stares, the girls started shouting their grievances all at once. Our parents' expressions became very complicated. But Chloe didn't notice. She kept egging them on. This is all Mia's fault. She's average-looking, so she wants everyone else to stay average too. She's just toxic and jealous. The crowd roared in agreement, demanding I apologize on my knees. Dad frowned, looking at Chloe. Wait. Chloe, you're saying you took those pills and your skin actually got better? Chloe nodded proudly. Yes, Dad. Look at me. Don't I look 10 times better? Just wait until I marry Zachary, you'll see. Hearing this, the girls who hadn't taken the pills looked green with envy, their hatred toward me growing stronger. Mom tried to disperse the crowd, but nobody listened. A few girls got so aggressive that one of them screamed. She took away our future. Push her off the balcony. Before I could react, several hands grabbed my arms, dragging me toward the apartment balcony. I desperately grabbed the doorframe, my sneakers sliding against the floor. Let go of me. Are you guys insane? They didn't care. They shoved me hard, pushing my upper body over the low balcony railing. I was dangling stories above the concrete pavement. The cold wind whipping my hair across my face. What are you doing? Pull her back. Mom screamed in terror. Mia, you think you're so smart? Keep talking now, bitch. One girl yelled, her eyes bloodshot with rage. I gripped the railing, my knuckles white. Don't listen to Chloe. The medical results aren't out yet. Don't do this. Murder is a federal crime. But they were completely deaf to my pleas, trying to push me over the edge. Just as I thought I was going to plummet to my death, the sharp wail of police sirens echoed from the street below. A neighbor had called 911. The cops burst into the apartment seconds later, tearing the girls away from me and pulling me back to safety. Chloe stood in the corner, a faint, cold smirk on her face. When the officer demanded an explanation, Chloe spoke up first. Officer, this is my sister Mia. She got jealous because I'm prettier than her, so she tried to stop us from taking our vitamins. Everyone just got a little emotional. I leaned against the wall, gasping for air, unable to utter a single word. Finally, Dad sighed, looking exhausted. Since this has become a police matter, I'm taking Chloe to the clinic tomorrow for a full medical checkup. We'll see if these pills are actually poison. Chloe whined, but she couldn't argue with Dad. The next afternoon, the lab results came back. The report showed Chloe's liver enzymes were off the charts, heavy metals in her blood were at toxic levels, and her skin biopsy showed deep layer chemical damage. Chloe stared at the paper, completely frozen. The clinic room was sterile, smelling of antiseptic and floor wax. Dr. Harrison, a senior toxicologist with silvering hair, sat behind his desk. He tapped his pen against the thick folder of Chloe's lab results, his brow furrowed in a deep, troubled frown. This can't be right, Chloe stammered, her voice high and breathless. She grabbed the paper from the desk, her fingers crumpling the edges. Look at me. My skin is glowing. I don't have any pain. You made a mistake with the blood samples. Miss Vance, Dr. Harrison said coldly, pulling his glasses off. The numbers do not lie. Your ALT and AST liver enzymes are over 800 units per liter. Normal is under 40. Your blood mercury levels are 12 times the safety limit for human survival. You are experiencing acute heavy metal poisoning and severe systemic steroid toxicity. Our father stood by the door, his face pale as chalk. Doctor, what does that mean? What's going to happen to her? It means, Dr. Harrison looked straight at Chloe, the glow you are seeing is not healthy skin. It is acute dermal edema, fluid retention caused by your kidneys failing to filter out synthetic corticosteroids. In simpler terms, your skin is stretching tight and smooth because your body is drowning in its own trapped toxins. The room went dead silent. Chloe's breath hitched. She looked down at her smooth, pale arms, then at her manicured hands. No, she whimpered, shaking her head frantically. No, you're lying. Mia paid you to say this. She's a pre-med student here. She knows the doctors. She wants to ruin my chances with Zachary. I stood near the window, leaning against the sill, my hands tucked into the pockets of my medical coat. I didn't yell. I didn't scoff. Dr. Harrison, I said calmly. What happens if someone continues taking these pills for another 2 weeks? Irreversible liver necrosis, Dr. Harrison replied without hesitation. Extensive skin ulceration as the heavy metals purge through the dermal layers, permanent alopecia, and total renal failure requiring lifelong dialysis, assuming she survives the septic shock. Dad's knees buckled. He fell back into a visitor's chair, grabbing his head in his hands. Mom, who had just walked in holding a paper cup of water, dropped it onto the linoleum. The water splashed over Chloe's designer shoes. Chloe, Mom sobbed, rushing forward to grab her arm. Throw them away. Give me the bottle right now. Get off me. Chloe shrieked, shoving Mom away so hard that Mom stumbled against the examination table. Chloe clutched her handbag, where 3 fresh bottles of the glow-up pills were stashed tightly against her chest like a mother protecting a newborn. You're all in on this, Chloe roared, her eyes wild, bloodshot, and rimmed with dark, bruised circles that no amount of foundation could hide. You're just jealous. Zachary told me yesterday that he's taking me as his date to the Sterling Group annual charity gala next week. He loves my skin. I am not stopping. She turned on her heel and sprinted out of the clinic, the heavy glass doors slamming shut behind her. Dad scrambled to his feet to chase her, but I reached out and gently held his shoulder. Let her go, Dad, I said softly, my voice as cold as ice. She made her choice. You can't wake up someone who is pretending to be asleep. 3 days passed. The campus was quiet on the surface, but beneath, the rot had begun. The first girl to collapse was Sarah, one of the fraternity girls who had bought 2 bottles from Chloe for $300 cash. She fainted during an organic chemistry lecture. When the paramedics arrived and cut open her sweater, the entire classroom gasped in horror. Her back and neck, which had been smooth and milky white 2 days prior, were covered in dark, purplish-black blood blisters. Her skin was peeling off in thin, wet sheets oozing a clear, foul-smelling fluid. By 6 o'clock that evening, 2 more girls were admitted to the university hospital with high fevers, uncontrollable vomiting, and sudden, patchy hair loss. The emergency room was in chaos. I stood in the hospital lobby in my intern scrubs, holding a clipboard watching the panicked parents of those girls screaming at the ER doctors. Then the main doors burst open. A mob of 5 college girls, their faces covered in scarves and thick hoodies to hide their skin, marched into the lobby. Leading them was Sarah's older brother, a broad-shouldered football player whose face was contorted in pure fury. Where is she? He roared, his voice echoing off the high ceilings. Where is Chloe Vance? The hospital security guards tried to hold them back, but the crowd pushed through. Suddenly, a cab pulled up to the ambulance bay outside. Chloe stepped out. She was wearing a long, floor-length velvet gown, an imitation diamond tiara, pinned into her hair, and heavy, caked-on makeup. She had spent the entire afternoon at a luxury salon getting ready for what she thought was her dream date with Zachary Sterling. She walked toward the hospital entrance, holding her phone, live streaming to her 30,000 followers. Hey guys. On my way to meet Zachary at the Starlight Lounge. Ignore the rumors. Online my skin has never been. There she is. Sarah's brother screamed, pointing a thick finger at her. The mob rushed out the glass doors. Before Chloe could even register what was happening, Sarah's brother grabbed her by her hair, yanking her head back. You poisoned my sister, he screamed, shoving his phone screen inches from Chloe's face. The screen showed a photo of Sarah lying in the ICU, her face covered in dark, necrotic lesions hooked up to an oxygen mask. Look at her, the guy yelled. She bought those fucking pills from you. You told her they were safe vitamins. Chloe panicked, thrashing in his grip. Let go of me. It's not my fault. I didn't drink enough water. The instructions said to drink water. Another girl, whose face was broken out in weeping, red ulcers, stepped forward and slammed her hand across Chloe's cheek. Slap. The impact was so hard that Chloe's tiara flew off, shattering against the concrete pavement. My skin is ruined. The girl wept hysterically, hitting Chloe again and again. My wedding is in 2 months. You sold us poison, you greedy bitch. Zachary. Chloe screamed into her phone, tears smearing her heavy makeup, revealing the raw, dark purple patches beneath her foundation. Zachary. Help me. I'm at the hospital. Come save me. I walked through the sliding glass doors, standing a few feet away, holding my clipboard, watching the spectacle with quiet detachment. Chloe's phone was still live streaming. Suddenly, a comment popped up on her screen from the verified account of Zachary. Sterling. Zachary_Sterling. I don't know who this woman is. She is an unauthorized trespasser who stalked me at the charity gala. Sterling Bionutritional has zero relationship with her. Our legal team is filing a restraining order and a defamation lawsuit immediately. Chloe stared at the glowing words on her screen. Her phone slipped from her fingers, hitting the ground, the screen shattering into a spiderweb of cracks. No, she whispered, her voice cracking. No. Zachary promised me promised he'd marry me. The police arrived within 10 minutes, clearing the crowd and placing Chloe under protective custody because she had sold unregistered, toxic chemical substances on campus for profit without a business license. She was taken directly to the precinct for questioning before being transferred back to the hospital's secure medical ward under police guard. That night, our parents sat in the hospital corridor outside Chloe's isolation room, weeping hysterically. Chloe was lying on the bed inside, her hands restrained to the metal rails to keep her from scratching her skin. The toxic backlash had hit her full force. Her face was swollen to twice its normal size, covered in dark, scabby patches, where the heavy metals were purging through her capillaries. Clumps of her long, dyed hair lay scattered across the white pillow like dead corn silk. Mia. Mom grabbed my hand as I walked past, her fingers trembling, her eyes swollen. You're a medical student. You have to help your sister? Ask your professors. There must be an antidote. I looked down at Mom's hands. In my past life, those same hands had signed the police statement claiming my murder was a suicide. Those same hands had packed up my clothes into trash bags and thrown them away so Chloe wouldn't feel guilty looking at my things. There is no antidote for heavy metal necrosis, Mom, I said, my voice smooth, even, and entirely devoid of warmth. Her liver is functioning at 15%. She will be on permanent dialysis by next week. How can you be so heartless? Dad yelled, standing up, his face red with frustration. She's your sister. You knew those pills were dangerous. Why didn't you stop her harder? I turned my head slowly to look at Dad. A faint, bitter smile touched my lips. Stop her harder? I asked softly. Dad, do you remember what you said to me the day she bought those pills? Dad froze. You told me, don't always be such a buzzkill, Mia. As long as Chloe is happy. I quoted, every word sharp as a razor blade. And when I tried to warn her friends, Chloe told everyone I was jealous of her beauty, and her friends dragged me to the balcony to throw me off. I did my duty as a human being by giving a medical warning. I stepped closer to him, staring straight into his eyes. I am not her keeper, and I am certainly not her sacrificial lamb. You. Dad raised his hand, his fingers trembling, aiming a slap at my face, just like he used to when I didn't yield to Chloe as a child. I didn't flinch. I reached out, caught his wrist in midair with an iron grip, and shoved his arm back down. Touch me again, I whispered, leaning in close so only he could hear, and I'll inform the district attorney about how you helped Chloe hide the cash she made from selling those illegal pills under your floorboards. Dad's face went completely translucent. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. He backed away, stumbling against the wall, looking at me as if I were a terrifying stranger. Just then, 2 men in dark tailored suits walked down the corridor, followed by 2 uniformed detectives. It was the legal team from Sterling Enterprises. The lead attorney, a sharp-faced man named Mr. Vance, pulled an official document from his briefcase and handed it to Dad. Mr. Vance, the lawyer said briskly, I represent Mr. Zachary Sterling. Your daughter, Chloe Vance, has illegally used Mr. Sterling's name and likeness to distribute toxic, counterfeit health supplements on university grounds. What? Dad gasped. No. Zachary gave her those pills. They were dating. Mr. Sterling has never dated your daughter, the lawyer replied smoothly, pulling out a printed stack of security camera logs. Miss Vance was a third-tier brand promoter who illegally acquired industrial-grade samples from an unauthorized warehouse. Sterling Enterprises is suing your family for $20 million in commercial brand damages. 20 million? Mom shrieked, falling off her chair onto the floor. We don't have that kind of money. We're working class. Then I suggest you retain a good bankruptcy lawyer, Mr. Vance said coldly, turning on his heel and walking away. While Chloe lay rotting in the hospital ward, and our parents faced financial ruin, my life moved forward at light speed. 2 weeks later, the State Board of Medical Examiners and the Federal Food and Drug Administration launched a joint task force to investigate the illegal supplement ring operating across state college campuses. Because of my detailed early research paper on the chemical composition of the glow-up pills, which I had submitted anonymously to the FDA 3 weeks prior, I was invited to serve as a junior student consultant for the federal investigation team. On a bright, clear Tuesday morning, I stood in the auditorium of the state Capitol Courthouse. The room was packed with news cameras, journalists, and university representatives. At the defense table sat Zachary Sterling, wearing an orange detention jumpsuit, his hands handcuffed to his waist belt. Beside him sat his network of high-profile influencers, including the very woman whose lavish wedding photos had driven Chloe to murder me in my past life. They had been arrested 2 days ago at a private airstrip while attempting to board a flight to Dubai with $4 million in cryptocurrency. The federal prosecutor stood up, adjusting his glasses. The prosecution calls Miss Mia Vance to the stand. I stepped up to the witness box in my crisp white lab coat, holding a leather-bound binder containing the complete spectroscopic analysis of the pills. I didn't look at Zachary Sterling. I didn't need to. I adjusted the microphone and spoke into the quiet, crowded courtroom in a clear, confident voice. The substance marketed as glow-up capsules contains a lethal cocktail of mercury subchloride, clobetasol propionate, and industrial-grade lead oxides. I explained, pointing to the chemical diagrams displayed on the courtroom screens. The manufacturers deliberately combined high-potency topical steroids with heavy metal toxins to create a temporary, artificial paleness through acute vasoconstriction. The sellers knew, I continued, looking directly at the jury, that within 60 days of continuous use, every single consumer would suffer permanent liver damage, severe skin necrosis, and irreversible renal failure. The courtroom erupted into quiet gasps and furious scribbling from reporters. Zachary Sterling's defense lawyer tried to object, but the judge slammed his gavel down. Objection overruled. Proceed, Miss Vance. For 2 hours, I delivered a masterclass in forensic toxicology. I laid out the supply chain, the digital payment trails, the fake lab certificates, and the exact biological mechanism of the poison. By the time I stepped down from the stand, the federal prosecutor gave me a quiet nod of profound respect. That evening, the news anchor on the national broadcast announced the verdict. Sterling supplement cartel convicted on all counts. Zachary Sterling sentenced to 25 years in federal penitentiary for mass poisoning, racketeering, and fraud. The Sterling family empire collapsed overnight. Their stock plunged to zero. Their assets were seized by federal liquidators, and their name became synonymous with corporate murder. A month after the trial, I graduated at the top of my class from the pre-med program. I received a full merit scholarship and a guaranteed surgical residency at Johns Hopkins University, the top medical institution in the country. On the afternoon I was packing my belongings in my quiet apartment downtown, my front door bell rang. I opened the door. Standing in the hallway were Mom and Dad. They looked 30 years older. Dad's hair had gone completely gray, his shoulders stooped, wearing a worn, faded jacket. Mom's hands were rough, red, and calloused from taking a night job scrubbing floors at a local diner. Their house had been foreclosed on by the bank to pay off the medical bills and civil lawsuits filed by the families of the poisoned college girls. They were currently living in a rented basement room near the industrial docks. Mia. Mom choked out, her eyes brimming with tears, holding a plastic container of homemade dumplings. Happy graduation, sweetie. Mom made your favorite pork dumplings. I didn't step back, nor did I invite them in. I stood in the doorway, my arms crossed, looking at them with calm detachment. What do you want? I asked flatly. Dad swallowed hard, his eyes darting toward the sleek leather suitcases sitting in my foyer. Mia, Dad stammered, his voice laced with pathetic, groveling humility. We heard you got a $50,000 signing bonus for your residency in Baltimore. And your sister. Mom wept, dropping to her knees right there in the hallway carpet, grabbing the hem of my jeans. Chloe's kidney dialysis costs $3,000 a week, Mia. The state insurance won't cover her experimental skin grafts. The hospital says if we don't pay the back balance by Friday, they're transferring her to a county hospice. Mia, please. Dad begged, shedding real tears. She's your sister. You're going to be a rich doctor. Just give us $40,000 to save her life. We'll Sign a contract. We'll pay you back when we can. I looked down at the two people who had brought me into this world. I remembered my past life. I remembered lying on the freezing asphalt, blood pooling beneath my crushed chest, listening to Chloe scream that I was a jealous bitch who deserved to die. I remembered Dad standing in the police station, calmly signing his signature on the waiver form, telling the detective, our daughter Mia had severe depression. She threw herself in front of her sister's car. It was a suicide. I remembered Mom standing in my bedroom the day after my funeral, packing my favorite books into a cardboard box and tossing them into the dumpster, saying, at least now Chloe won't have to feel bad every time she looks at Mia's room. A soft, genuine smile spread across my face. I leaned down, gently pulling my jeans out of Mom's callous grip. Do you know why I didn't stop Chloe when she took those pills, Mom? I asked, softly. Mom blinked through her tears, confused. What? What do you mean? In my past life, I whispered, every word coming out clear, cold, and razor sharp. Chloe ran me over with her car because she thought I stole her chance to marry a billionaire. And you two helped her cover up my murder. Mom and Dad went dead rigid. The hallway temperature seemed to drop to absolute zero. They stared at me with wide, bloodshot eyes, their faces turning a sickly, translucent white, as if they were looking at a ghost that had walked out of a grave. You. What? What are you talking about? Dad stammered, his voice trembling so violently he could barely speak. Past life. You buried me like a dog, I said smoothly, stepping back into my apartment. And now, you want me to pay $40,000 to keep my murderer alive? I grabbed the door handle. Go back to your basement, I said softly, and watch your precious golden daughter rot. Bang! I slammed the door shut, turned the deadbolt, and walked into my bedroom to finish zipping my suitcases. Before leaving for Baltimore, I made one final stop. The county palliative ward was a dark, dreary concrete building on the outskirts of the city. It smelled of industrial bleach, urine, and decay. I walked down the narrow, dimly lit corridor in my sleek trench coat, stopping outside room 108. Through the small glass window on the door, I looked inside. Chloe lay on a narrow, squeaky iron bed. She was completely unrecognizable. Her hair was gone, her scalp covered in red, scabby sores. Her face was hollowed out, dark black pigmentation spreading across her cheeks and nose like a grotesque mask. Her hands were thin, skeletal, wrapped in heavy bandages where her fingernails had fallen off. A rhythmic, heavy thumping sounded from the dialysis machine beside her bed, pumping her dark, toxin-filled blood through clear plastic tubes. She turned her head slowly, her vacant, cloudy eyes meeting mine through the glass window. Her lips parted. No sound came out, only a raspy, wet wheeze. She reached out a gaunt, bandaged hand toward the window, her fingers trembling, her eyes filled with an absolute, bottomless void of terror, regret, and agony. She knew. She knew she had traded her health, her youth, her future, and her soul for a bottle of cheap, toxic powder and an illusion of gold. I stood outside the glass. I didn't smile. I didn't glare. I didn't show anger. I simply lifted my hand, adjusted the collar of my crisp coat, looked at her for 3 seconds, and then turned my back on her. I walked down the long, sunlit driveway of the hospital, stepping out into the fresh afternoon air. A sleek black cab was waiting at the curb to take me to the airport. The sun was bright, the sky was wide and blue, and the road ahead was completely gloriously mine.